Today I would like to take a closer look at the basic attacking tactics and defending tactics of I.33 in connection with the play of omitting the bind. I have already talked about this topic a little bit in my first video, but today I want to look at it in more detail, and I will already use the foundation that I have laid out in the previous videos, and I will build upon it and look if what I am building matches what we see in the manuscript. So what are the plays of omitting the bind, laying low? There are 4 or 5 plays that all follow the same pattern. They all consist of 2 images. In the first image we see an attacker who is doing some kind of obsessio, for example a half shield, and the defender who is standing in some custodia. That is the first image. And second image has the defender standing still in the same custodia, and the attacker who has switched from the obsessio to a thrust, some kind of a thrust. So this is the play of omitting the bind, and in the text we are told that the defender lays low, omits his bind, omits his defense. They use different words, but they clearly mean exactly the same thing. And the play is showing what the attacker should do, how he should kill him. What are these plays about? Well, usual interpretation is that the defender is not reacting to what the attacker is doing. So the attacker is doing an obsessio, and the defender does not react, so the attacker continues and kills him. In my opinion, this is not a good interpretation, because this would happen very rarely. Because my interpretation is based on the idea that obsessio is in fact a cut. Then you can expect your opponent to react to your cut. It would be very rare that you cut at your opponent and he does nothing. He just looks at the cut coming at him and does nothing. This would not usually happen. Anyone, even untrained fencer, will do something against your cut. It is very unusual to just wait and get hit. So it would not make sense to dedicate 4 or 5 plays in the manuscript to this situation that just doesn't occur in the fight. 4 or 5 plays, that is a lot. So in my interpretation, this means that the defender reacts to the attacker, but he just blocks with a shield and does nothing more. You may notice that if I block with a shield, without a sword, just block with a shield, I start in a custodia, and if I block, I still remain in the same custodia. So now I am in tertia custodia, and I am still in a tertia custodia, even though I have blocked the attack. So this, in my opinion, is the reason why the defender looks exactly the same in both images of the play, because before he was standing in a custodia and waiting, and after he has blocked the attack, but he still remained in the same custodia. So he is drawn the same way, he looks the same. And this situation that the defender just blocks with a shield, that is very usual in combat. That will happen very often, and it makes sense why this play is repeated all over again 4 or 5 times, because the information that it is telling you is very important. I believe this play contains a warning for the defender. If you will just block with your shield and do nothing more, nothing better, then he will eventually get you. So this is not what you should do. Don't just block and wait. You have to block and do something more. And there is an advice for the attacker also. There is an advice of what attacking tactics to use to overcome the protection of the shield of the opponent. So there is some kind of an obsessio and then thrust, and this like two-step attack is what the attacker is advised to do. So this, in my opinion, is the reason of this play. It has a message for both sides, and the message is very important. Let's first look at the attacker. So the attacker is told to first do an obsessio and then twist it into some kind of thrust. It is called plaga in the text, which means something like a hit, strike, blow, something like that. But it is clearly a thrust, and the text mentions it in other places. So we have the advice to use like an assault that consists of two attacks. First obsessio and then plaga. You may notice that the switch from obsessio to a plaga, to a thrust, is always consists of some turn or twist of the sword. There is always like a twist from below to up, or from left to right, something like that. In every of these 4 or 5 plays, you can see it. And this, in my opinion, is very important, because this is the way how we circumvent the defense of the shield. So I am cutting a half shield at my opponent, and he blocks it, and I'm immediately going behind the shield. This switch from this to this is it is probably similar to the Duplieren of Lichtenauer. Duplieren in Lichtenauer is about the following mechanism. We have hit each other, and I am doing the similar twist like this, and I am getting with my sword to his head. So this is the Duplieren of Lichtenauer. And if we are striking to the shield, we may do a very similar thing to get easiest twist to get the tip of my sword behind the opponent's shield. And the important thing is that if I am able to do this, now I have circumvented the opponent's shield. His natural reaction will be to follow my sword, but I can still reach him. Even though he is turning his shield, he may turn his body, still I am able to get him. So this kind of attack has a very good chance to reach the opponent, because if he reacts naturally by following my sword, it won't help. Now, these were obsessiones that are done from the right side. All of them, half shield, Schützen, all of them can work the same way with this Duplieren-like twist and attack. But the plays of omitting the bind are showing similar twist even from the left side. But if you try to do it from the left side, it just does not work well. If I would do the Duplieren-like twist from my left side, it wouldn't work. Say if I am cutting a Schützen against my opponent, and then I want to turn this into a thrust, it would need to be turned like this, in this strange motion. Well, for the opponent, this is easy to defend, and it forces me to turn my back to the opponent, and in this position I don't have the power. So like this kind of twist is not good. So the plays are showing us this twist from obsessio to a thrust on both sides, right and left. It can be done from obsessio done from the right and obsessio done from the left. But we have seen that this twist from the right side works extremely well, but from the left side it doesn't work at all. And that is why I believe the mechanism that you use if you start an obsessio from the left side is very different. Not very, but different. First, let me digress a little bit. If you look in the manuscript and look for all types of obsessiones that you can see in the manuscript, you may notice that the obsessiones that are done from the right side are concentrating on the upper quadrant of the body. We have a half shield that goes directly from above. We have Schützen that, if done from the right, it goes like horizontally but at the shoulder height. But we are not given any kind of a rising cut like this. Even though in 133 there is a position, it is quinta custodia, that looks exactly like a preparation for this kind of cut. But this kind of cut is not there. Well, in fact it is. There is a play, or maybe more of them, where we do a rising cut that go, well, it is a rising cut with a false edge, probably. But this cut is not called obsessio, and it is not used as an obsessio. It is always used as a reaction to what the opponent is doing. We have, if we concentrate on the right side, we have obsessiones that are on the upper quadrant, but we don't have anything like this. If I do a rising cut from my right side, I will still hit the shield of my opponent. I may do the Duplieren-like twist, but it wouldn't succeed because the natural reaction of the opponent will push my sword away or generally protect, because this Duplieren-like twist does not work from bottom. So this, in my opinion, is why we have no obsessio that would be a rising cut from right side, even though we have the quinta custodia that looks like it is prepared for a cut like this. But we still don't have this kind of obsessio because it won't work together with this Duplieren-like twist. So this was the right side. What about left side? Well, from the left side we have two rising cuts. We have kruke, like this, kruke, and we have this kind of rising cut, which doesn't have a name, but they are there. They are done from the left side. And for a horizontal cut, which is Schützen, it is a horizontal, but it starts low. It starts from pre-special long point or from prima custodia, but it starts low and goes, well, horizontally, but from the low position. And we don't have any descending cut that would go on the right side. So the obsessiones that are done, not right side, left side. So obsessiones that are done on the left side are concentrating on the lower quadrant and not upper. And I believe this is because the basic mechanism of switching obsessio to a thrust is different if you do it from the left side. So what I think we should do if we are attacking from the left side is the following. I would attack something like a kruke, and I have hit the opponent's shield from below. This forces the opponent's shield down, at least a little bit. And now, what I should do is a twist like this. So I start below, at the position below the shield, and I am quickly putting my sword above the shield. And I am, at the same time, I am supporting it with my shield. So the whole twist would look like this. And if I'm able to quickly take this position, then enough, just to get the tip of the sword above the opponent's shield is enough if I'm supporting it with my shield. And now my opponent cannot raise his shield up because I am supporting it with my shield. And I have a direct way for the thrust to my opponent. So while from the right side I am doing something like Duplieren, from the left side I believe I am doing hit below, and immediately get my sword and shield above the opponent's shield, and then thrust. So this was the advice to the attacker. What about the advice to the defender? Well, the general advice is do not defend just with a shield. And what you should do is not to omit your bind. In the previous videos I have already explained that the bind in 133 probably means contact of the blades. So if you only block with your shield, it is not a bind because your blade is not touching the opponent's blade. So just block with a shield means I have omitted the bind. And what the play is telling me is do not omit the bind. You should add also your sword to the situation so that you are binding. And this is because you can expect the opponent, after you have blocked his first obsessio, you can expect that he will turn his obsessio into a thrust. And the best defense against a thrust is a bind from that can be done only with your blade. So if the opponent attacks me with a croquet and I just block it with a shield, he will follow with the thrust. So how should I block this? And what I should do is to block not only with the shield but also in the sword, because I will add the sword in the situation, and this will create a bind, and through bind I can control the opponent's sword. So now I am blocking with both sword and shield, and the opponent cannot turn his sword to the thrust because I am already controlling him. And I can follow with action of a bind, like shield slug. But how to do this if I am in a position that cannot easily add the sword to the defense? For example, if I am in prima custodia, my first reaction is just to block with a shield, like this, and I can't add the sword to the situation. But I don't have to, because my opponent, his attack has two steps. First, an obsessio, which is this, and the thrust will be following the obsessio. And I have one more tempo to add my sword to the situation. So what I can do is to just block with a shield, and then as the opponent is turning for the thrust, I can add my sword. And here I am binding above and on the right, and I can immediately do my actions. So this play is in 133, and it is exactly about this. So if the opponent does his obsessio, I can block only with the shield, but as he is going for the thrust, I will add for my bind, and I will immediately use my bind for follow-up. So as a defender, we shouldn't just block with a shield. So what should we do? Well, we should add the sword in the situation and go for the bind, because the bind is a defense against the thrust that will come there, probably from the opponent. We may say that this play of omitting the bind tells the reader very important information that we would probably tell if you were training a beginner in longsword. You will probably tell him that he should not just parry. Parry is not enough. You would probably tell him that he should do some in-tempo attack, or parry and then riposte, or parry and then take the bind and work from the bind, or parry and then close the distance and grapple. But he should do parry and something, because if he just parries and then waits, then the opponent will eventually get him. You cannot succeed, you cannot win just by this simple parry. And I believe that the same idea is hidden in this play of omitting the bind. It says the same thing. Don't expect that you will just stop the opponent with your shield and win. because he will work from there. So you need to do more. You need to block with the shield and then work with your sword and do whatever you can. So this is a very important information that the play is conveying to us, and that is why probably why the play is there like 4 or 5 times for different obsessiones and different custodiae, because it is very important. I believe it is quite crucial even for the system itself, because this is the starting point of the exchange. It says to the attacker how he should attack. What is your strategy? Well, rather tactics. What tactics should you use to attack? You should go for these 2-step attacks. First obsessio and then plaga. This is how you circumvent the shield, how you get behind the shield. And to the defender, it says you should immediately, after your successful defense, you should immediately go for the bind. And then from the bind we have the following plays. We have mutatio gladi and rebinds and all this stuff. But it all starts in this play of omitting the bind. If you omit the bind, then the opponent will kill you with his 2-step attack. And if you add the bind, then you are in the bind and you go in the following place. So these were the plays of omitting the bind, and I believe these plays are telling us a lot about the system of the priest, and it tells us how to fight, how to start our attacks, how to get the opponent. So I think they are very, very important.